Now, onto the topic of sabbaticals. As you've shared with me, and as many people who have shared, they're looking forward to this conversation on sabbaticals. You have shared that sabbaticals aren't just for academic professionals and that they can have a benefit, that we can all have a benefit from a sabbatical by intentionally designing pauses into our lives that support sustained well being and growth, as we've been talking about. So, what advice would you give to women in our audience who are considering what a sabbatical might look like for them and how could they make it work for them?
Yeah. So I am not a sabbatical expert, but I've met people who are. Did you know that there are sabbatical coaches in the world? And there are people who
No.
professionally do this. They coach people up, they get them prepared for their sabbatical, they walk through the sabbatical with them, and then they help them to reintegrate after, which is so critically important. I was not aware of these people when I went on sabbatical, but since I wrote about it in my book, people now seek me out. A sabbatical can be a time of restoration and vacation, but it's more than that. Many times we go into sabbatical needing certain kinds of rest or a different perspective. Be thinking about what is your intention for the sabbatical. Now, if you find yourself in an unintentional pause in your career, you can still bring this into it and say, I'm going to treat this as a gift of time to really think about what's important to me and what matters most to me in my life and how I want to position myself to move to whatever comes next. And so as I went into my sabbatical, I went into it with a question. And I'm so glad I was not in the place to take a sabbatical when I was going through burnout, because I would have just quit and I wouldn't have had this intention, right? I might have just goofed off and distracted myself and jumped right back into a situation without really realizing what it was that would fill me up. And so when I went on sabbatical, I was actually at a place of thriving. I loved my coworkers, really enjoyed the work I was doing, but I had promised myself in my mid-40s, I am taking a sabbatical when I turn 50. And so I decided to do that and I prepared for it. And as I went into that sabbatical, I woke up January 3rd, that first day, and I said, the question I'm going to be asking myself for however much time I get to have in this period is, what really fills me up? What is it that I want to do that's going to have me jumping out of bed in the morning? And excited for the day ahead. And how am I uniquely able to contribute something more to the world around me? And so having that question, I just sat with it for a period of months. And then I had to think about, well, what are the supports? How am I going to design for this? And originally I wanted new perspectives. I wanted to get out of my everyday surroundings, but COVID hit. And so I spent my entire sabbatical pretty much at home. I did enlist the help of a discernment coach who specifically taught me the tools of discernment that goes back into thousands of years of ancient wisdom. And so I learned different types of discernment practices that would help me to sit with this question and look at it from different lenses and to understand and discern for myself what the answers might be to that question.